Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment virtual hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed through the City of Toronto's Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and a provincial order that limits attendance at public meetings. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone, or a tablet app, or by telephone. All participants will automatically be muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. I ask that you please only use one device at a time, as it does interfere with our audio during the hearing. Only the committee members will be participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse nations of First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of Credit. In accordance with Section 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Nadini Sankar Peralta, and I will be chairing this meeting today. Joining me on this amazing panel are Ms. Nazila Atarodi West, Mr. Giuseppe Bartolo, and Mr. Thomas Klassen. Also present are Committee of Adjustment staff, Mr. Simon Lamb, who is the Deputy Secretary Treasurer today, and joined by Mr. Brendan Clapp, Kelly Reid, and Chelsea Kong, as well as all other staff who work tirelessly in front and behind the scenes to make these hearings occur successfully. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that applies to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone in attendance today who wants to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address, because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, decisions may be appealed by getting in touch with the Toronto Local Appeal Body, or in some limited circumstances, the Toronto Appeal Tribunal. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. I will call, in terms of the hearing procedure, I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if required. The committee may ask questions and or take time to take into consideration this matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, will be given a maximum number of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment or ask you to summarize your presentation when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and make a presentation to the committee of the application. Please note that the committee may entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure that the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the agent or applicant has the opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into committee for a decision. Now, I understand from the planning team that we do have, I believe it's August 20th minutes to adopt. Are there any others, or that's the only one? Okay, so we do have August 20th minutes to adopt. I'll turn to our committee members. Can I get a motion to adopt these minutes?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I want to put forward a motion to adopt the minute.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Attarodi. Someone to second? Seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? That those minutes have passed. At this point in time, I'd like to turn to our panel members and ask if anyone would like to declare a conflict of interest within this morning time slot. None noted, and none for myself as well. In terms of deferrals, Mr. Lamb, have you received any requests for deferrals? We have none noted. In terms of closing files, none noted as well. So we'll get started with today's agenda. Now I'll look towards item number 1, which is number 217 Churchill Avenue, which is the, this application is to obtain consent to sever the property into two parts. On the speaker list, we've got just the agent, Mr. Rubinoff. Is the agent available?
Good morning. It's Glenn Rubinoff here,
Can
agent
I
for
get
the
your
owner.
address, Mr. Rubinoff?
Sure. It's 697 Mount Pleasant Road, Toronto.
Okay, great. Thank you. In this application, Mr. Rubinoff, we do have a staff report that is of November 3rd, requesting refusal. We also have an engineering report where there is no objections, and there are some conditions added to that. And of course, forestry applies. There is no one else to speak to this application, but because of the recommendation of staff refusal, I'd like you to make a 5-minute presentation and address mainly the concerns of the staff. Your 5 minutes begins now.
Sure, thank you very much. I don't think I'll take that much time. I'll try to keep it short. I do want to refer you to the area map because there's a very clear distinction between this lot and other lots in the area. The staff report refers to lot sizes as uniform and standard in the area. But if you look at this street and in particular this area, this particular lot is quite a wide lot in particular. It's adjacent to a very narrow lot, which would be actually more narrow. Number 219 is quite a narrow lot right next door. Across the road at 208 is also quite a narrow lot as well. And 210 is currently in with an application for a lot severance. I believe that will be before you in a couple of weeks as well. What I'm stating here, just from looking at the map in the area, there is actually a larger map I've provided to the city staff, which kind of indicates the comparables in the area. But there are several lots in the area smaller than what we're proposing. This is a large lot. It's out of character. The current lot that's there is out of character with the area, and it's indicated by the pink on the screen here. There are several sizes and variations. I feel that this is not a uniform area. If you just look down Churchill a little further, you can see several lots which are, again, at or under the lot frontage requirement in the area. So I was quite surprised by the staff report that it feels that it doesn't fit into the area, when I feel that the existing lot as it is does not fit in nearly as well as what we're proposing. The absence of any other comments or correspondence suggests to me that there's no other concerns expressed. But I do feel that this is an appropriate development for the site, considering that this area, the need for more standardized housing choices rather than a large, development on the site. I believe this is more appropriate for the property. We also, staff talked about the side yard setbacks. I don't believe that anything that we proposed here is out of character. We were very conscious when we worked on this, on the plans for this. It was a clear and obvious choice for us to request a severance on this piece of land, but also the variances related to it are appropriate for the size of the proposed lots in the area, for the proposed houses on the property itself. And that's why we did this map here, to illustrate the various approvals that have been made over the last couple of years, maybe half dozen years. So if you look, there's a lot of different shapes and sizes of lots in the area, and I really feel that this application is appropriate for the site, and I feel that it will reinforce the area, not diminish from it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rubinoff. I'll turn to committee members. Do you have any questions for Mr. Rubinoff? Okay. There being no questions. Oh, I see Mr. Bartolo. Yes, please go ahead.
I'm reviewing the map here as well as the variance package. I noticed on your map there, Mr. Rubinoff, that you're highlighting a bunch of properties within the local area, which is great. However, not all of those are necessarily pertaining to frontage variances. So my question is, of those that you've noted, how many of them are equal to or smaller than the frontage being proposed in your application?
Thank you for that. Well, the immediate lot next door, 219, which is existing, is undersized, and just under the proposed. It's smaller than the proposed lot that we are proposing there. We're proposing 10.67, and I believe that one falls in the 9.9 meter frontage. The one across the road at 208 is also at a 9.9 meter frontage. The further down the street at 175, it's a 9.9 meter lot frontage. There's other lots in and around. I mean, there's the requirements of the lot frontage, of it being required to be 15 meters. Many of the lots in the area don't meet that requirement. This is, there are some lots that are a little bit bigger at 11 meters, just a little further down at 157. But I feel like there is a variety of lot sizes, and not just front. I know frontage is part of it, but also in terms of lot area, 461 square meters is not too far off from the requirements of the 550 square meters. It's not going to create a substandard lot. It's going to create houses which I think that when you drive by will look more in keeping with the area in terms of the massing of them, more so than this very large existing lot.
Okay, thank you. Does that answer your question, Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, it answers the question. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other questions for the agent, at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion from our members.
I just would like to add something else.
Sure, Ms. Attarodi.
Thank you. Based on the statistic that is in front of us, the prevailing character of those blocks and the block in front of them are not, or actually 15 meters and above that lot frontage. And it's actually, the statistic is 83% of the properties in that block and the block in front are actually have 15 meter or greater lot frontage. Therefore, I think still this is not a very appropriate proposal.
Mr. Rubinoff, are there any other comments that you'd like?
I mean, you just have to look at, even just looking at Horsham Avenue just to the north there, several of the lots in there, you know, there's pockets of lots. And to say that the area is a fairly consistent pattern, it's not. It's a variety of patterns. I think the staff might take a statistic of saying 80% in the immediate blocks, but you know, there's a school on the next block, a couple of schools, as there's a development going on at Senlac at the end of the block of townhouses going in. They're not in yet, but they're going to be in a matter of probably the next year or so, right just at the corner of Churchill and Senlac. So there's redevelopment happening, which is increasing the density, which I believe is what the city's intention is, to see more density in these areas. For me to have a 21-meter lot, about 70-foot frontage lot in this area, I think that's less appropriate for this area than the required, than what we're proposing. I recognize that statistics are stating that it's that most of the lots in the area are meet the requirement, but I'm not seeing that on this map. I'm seeing a variety of lot sizes and lot frontages, and I feel that this would not destabilize the area by creating this lot severance. I feel that this would be more appropriate than the way it is right now.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions from our panel members? If no other questions, can I get a motion, please? Sorry, Ms. Attarodi, please proceed.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I still haven't been convinced that this is an appropriate development for that neighborhood. Therefore, my motion will be to refuse this application.
We have a refusal from Ms. Attarodi. Can I have, is there anyone to second that? It's seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? Unanimously refused. Mr. Rubinoff, your application has been unanimously refused. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 2, which is 1140, Item number 2, which is 91 Brucewood Crescent. Here we have, an application to construct a new detached dwelling. And the agent is Mr. Marin Zabzuni. Mr. Zabzuni, are you there?
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Marin Zabzuni. I'm the agent for this property. My address is 1140 the Queensway.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Zabzuni, have you taken a look at the staff report that was presented with this application? It was of October 23rd, indicating that it be developed in accordance with the site plan and south elevation drawings.
Yes, we have reviewed that to be substantially developed in those drawings, and we are okay with that condition.
Okay, now we do have a forestry report. Forestry may apply as well, but we do have one more speaker listed, an area resident, to speak to this application. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to speak, and starting now.
Okay, so we are proposing a new 2-story dwelling. It's an irregular lot, so there was some challenges that we work towards. We situated the home more towards the left in order to avoid the front hydro pole and also to avoid removing a front city tree. And we're also working around a rear tree, the tree protection, so that we mitigate risk and injury on that portion. The side yard setbacks, I believe, are very minor in this situation. Basically, number one, that's speaks to the north side yard, 1.5 meters. So we moved the house there for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Item number three, the proposed south side yard setback is 1.27 meters, and that's only at the front corner. The house towards the middle is 4.9 meters from the middle of the house to the property line and 7 meters at the rear corner of the property line and towards the house. So there's a substantial setback, majority of that side yard setback. The balcony for item number 4 is situated in the middle of the lot at the rear. And again, it is 7 meters away from the south property line. There's also an apartment building at the rear of the property. So I believe this variance in this condition would be minor as well. The building length, to speak to that, the building length and building depth, the house itself, the first floor, second floor, actually comply with the building length. The reason for this variance is that it is taken to the edge of the excavated rear deck, which triggers this as a technical variance because of the excavated rear portion. If that was unexcavated, the house would look the same and would still comply with the building length and depth. So I believe that is minor in that respect. In terms of the height, we comply with building height, and it's only towards the old bylaw that we have a very minor variance in that respect. The staff report has taken into consideration the irregular lot and existing site conditions, and I believe this application meets the 4 tests. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do we have any questions for Mr. Zavzuni? There being no questions, let's move on to our first speaker. I believe it's a Mr. J.E. Lessard. Mr. Lessard, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, it's a miss, ma'am. Okay, so ma'am, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, I'm Janice Lessard.
Okay.
I'm
And
getting an echo.
I hear you fine.
Resident at and owner of 93 Brucewood Crescent, which abuts the north side of the property of 91 Brucewood. Good morning, Madam Chair and panel members and staff. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. For speed and brevity, I shall read to you my presentation. I have 2 objections to this application for minor variances. One is the proposed building will kill off 2 big healthy trees without urban forestry. Even knowing about it via this application, let alone removal of the black walnut tree on my property, has twice been rejected when urban forestry reviewed it. The second objection is to the oversizedness of the building in total, which is probably not a minor variance, as well as because the changes would reduce my enjoyment of my forever home. So firstly, about the trees. I was not made aware that there was changes in the application regarding the rear tree getting from urban forestry a protection ability. However, regarding the black walnut, the first application was submitted to you August 13th of this year, wrongly made the declaration the application was not subject to the city's private tree bylaw. In fact, prior to the application on July 3rd, the applicant's arborist Andrew Lucko applied to the city to have my black walnut tree removed. Mr. Lucko recommended, quotes, "I believe this tree has outgrown its space and qualifies for an exemption from the protection under the private tree bylaw," end of quotes. So it was likely known that the private tree bylaw did apply before the application was submitted to your committee. And as expected, Silent Good from Urban Forestry inspected the site and reported that, quotes, "Urban Forest does not support the removal of the tree," and added that, quotes, "There is no provision in the private tree bylaw to allow for the removal of the tree." It should also be noted that previous to the current owners, 91 Brucewood requested removal of this black walnut tree because of damage to their driveway. And the urban forestry examined the superficial tree roots, and these were seen abutting the current foundation wall on the bow window that exists in their driveway. And even with this, urban forestry denied removal of the tree. So to me, there will be an issue, and to the applicant's arborist, there is an issue regarding changing the foundation that is current and making it closer to the black walnut tree, because it will kill the tree, which is gorgeous, huge, and healthy. My next objection is regarding the oversizedness of the building. All 7 requests for minor variances of 91 Brucewood are for enlarging the proposed residential building to a size greater than existing bylaws allow. Specifically, there are requests each for deeper, wider, and taller extensions to the proposed new build. As well, there's a request for an even deeper than allowed concrete back porch that will add an even greater depth to the proposed overall house depth. This will in total
Ms.
create an
Lassard, you
obstruction
have
of my
30
view,
seconds
specifically
to summarize,
from
Ms.
my
Lassard.
all-glass cedar solarium, as well as from my patio, looking instead into a wall rather than into gorgeous trees. This would interfere with the continued enjoyment of my forever home. I suspect this proposed 2-story juggernaut of a building immediately south of my home will also block much of my sunlight too,
Okay,
again
Ms.
decreasing
Lassard.
my enjoyment,
Ms.
as well as
Lassard.
making it difficult for me
Can
to
she hear?
continue to
Ms.
grow my
Lassard.
professionally maintained lawn and gardens because of the change in future to a
Hi, okay,
shaded backyard.
we're out of time right now, Ms. Lassard. I've been trying to interrupt you for a little bit there.
I'm sorry, I have to.
We've gotten the gist of it. You've gone a little bit over. So what I'd like to do is give, it's a fair process. We have to be fair about this. So what I'd like to do is give an opportunity to our panel members if they have any further questions to ask of you. There being no questions, I'll invite Mr. Zabzuni back to the floor. There's obviously some concerns about the forestry, as well as sort of the massing of this property. And if you're able to respond to that, you have 5 minutes.
Yes, I'd be happy to. So in regards to the massing, I believe the massing is quite appropriate. Our side yard setback variances are very minor, and we're working through this irregular lot and site conditions. Our height, we comply for the new bylaw. It's just a minor variance of the old bylaw. Our length, we comply with the first and second floor, and the reason for this variance is due to the deck, which if it was an unexcavated deck, it would look the same, would have the same massing, so that doesn't impact the massing. And in regards to urban forestry, we've actually worked with this lot to design the house in a way to reduce a significant impact on the rear tree, to keep that tree to not be able to remove the front tree and to work with a hydro pole. We've done what we can to mitigate, tree removal and tree injury as much as possible with these conditions. And we're happy to keep, to work with urban forestry, whatever they require from us moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions from our members for Mr. Zabzuni? Okay, that being said, can I get a motion? Ms. Attarodi.
To you, Madam Chair, I actually listened to the neighbors and also read the applicant and also reviewed the urban forestry report issued on November 3rd. I still believe that the applicant need to work with the urban forestry further to do to satisfy urban forestry requirement. Therefore, my motion will be to defer this application so that the applicant kept time to just go toward the urban forestry requirement and try to come with a design that comply with everything.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Yes, certainly.
Sine die.
Sine die, okay.
Defer the application.
So we have a motion on the floor for Ms. Attarodi to defer the application sine die. Do we have a seconder for this motion? There being no seconder, the motion fails. Can I get a new motion from our members? Mr. Bartolo.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the following conditions, that it be developed substantially in accordance, in accordance with the site plan and south side elevation drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment attached as attachments 1 and 2 of this report, and subject to the conditions noted in the urban forestry memo dated November 3rd, 2020.
Okay, so we have on the floor a motion from Mr. Bartolo to approve the application subject to the October 23rd staff report in accordance with the site plan, that it be developed in accordance with the site plan and south side elevation drawings, and forestry applies. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? Opposed? Ms. Attarodi dissenting. Mr. Zabzuni, your application has been approved with those conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on, we will move on to item number 3, which is 354 Brooke Avenue. This is to construct a new dwelling, and I have someone by the name of Mr. Giorgio Lolos. Are you there?
Good morning, Madam Chair. How are you?
Okay, I'm great. Can you state your address, Mr. Lolos?
220 Duncan Mills Road, Toronto, Ontario. And good morning to committee panel members.
Okay, Mr. Lolos, this application seems to be straightforward. There's no other, speakers listed. Forestry does seem to apply. I'll ask the membership, do you require a presentation or have any questions? Yes, Ms. Attarodi.
Through you, Madam Chair, I have a question regarding the variance number 1, the lot coverage of 34.73% versus 30% that is the maximum permitted. So I would like the applicant if he can explain.
Right. Mr. Lolos, I'll give you 5 minutes to do a small presentation, just focusing specifically on that lot coverage, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. We've done our research in the area as far as what has been sort of the normal in the past. Given the dynamics and the characteristics of the neighborhood, we feel that based on my client's family's requirements and so forth, we would like this sort of 34.73% that we're asking for. Again, I mean, given our lot characteristics, we're not really engaging in any additional sort of side yard setback requirements, building requirements. We're definitely within our building envelope. Again, it's a family necessity aspect, but we still feel in the area that we are building around this value is, I don't like saying the word normal, but it has been accepted and sort of approved in the past. I could always sort of convey to the homeowner if this is a problem for a committee to support based on the fact that we don't have any objections from planning or anyone else, or even the neighbors. I mean, the neighbors did solicit themselves, the homeowners have solicited the neighbors adjacent around and so forth. Almost about 15 neighbors around them. They responded with all positive comments. You know, there's also a letter of support from a neighbor directly adjacent to them. So we feel that we did our due diligence and try to maintain a common sort of thread of the neighborhood characteristics. And I strongly believe, just personally believe, that what we're asking for is keeping within the neighborhood and the 4 tests. If there is an issue by committee, I could always, just get on the phone and talk to him. It'll take a couple of seconds to convey this, but I'm sure he's looking at it virtually because he was linked online. But again, it's primarily a family necessity aspect that we're asking for.
Okay, so in the absence of making any further changes to the application, I'll ask committee members, do you have any other questions of Mr. Lolos?
No.
There being none and no one else to speak to this application, forestry does seem to apply. I'd ask for a motion from our members. Mr.
Madam
Klassen.
Chair? Yes, I'll move to approve this application and make it subject to urban forestry as well.
Thank you, Mr. Klassen. So we have a motion on the floor from Mr. Klassen to approve this application subject to forestry. Can I get a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Mr. Bartolo. All in favor? Opposed? Ms. Attarodi dissenting. Mr. Lolos, your application has been approved subject to forestry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Have a great day.
You too. Great, so now we're moving on to application number 4, number 30, SUFI Crescent. The agent listed on the file is Alexander and Donna Thomas. Are you there? Is there an Alexander or a Donna Thomas on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am.
Good day, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine. Can you give me your address, please, for the record?
It's 30 SUFI Crescent, North York.
Okay. And this is for, the application is to construct a second floor rear deck. There seems to be only one variance, no forestry, and TRC has noted no objections whatsoever. We've got no other speakers except the agent. Does committee require a presentation or have any questions?
No, but I have a question. Do we have actually a memorandum from Urban Forestry on our file?
Yes.
Okay.
It is subjected to forestry, yes.
Yeah, that was my question.
Okay. Since there's no one else to speak to this application, if committee is ready, can I get a motion?
So,
Okay, Ms. Attarodi.
through you, Madam Chair, I want to put forward a motion to approve this application subjected to Urban Forestry.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Attarodi to approve the application subject to forestry. Is there someone to second this motion? Seconded by Mr. Bartolo. All in favor? Okay, unanimously approved. Ms. Thomas, your application has been unanimously approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to application number 5. This application is for number 146 LEACREST Road, and this is an application to construct a new dwelling. Do we have a Mr. Yaso Somalingam on the line?
Yes, Madam Chair. Yaso Somalingam here.
Great. Can I have your address, Mr. Somalingam?
850 Tapscott Road, Unit 51, Scarborough, Ontario.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, Mr. Somalingam, on file, we've got 2 letters of support. There seems to be only one variance. You are the only speaker listed on the file. I'll just turn it to committee members and ask if you require a presentation or you have any questions. There being no questions, I'll ask for a motion from the committee. Ms. Attarodi.
To you, Madam Chair, I think this is a very straightforward application, and I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no condition.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Attarodi to approve the application without conditions. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Mr. Somalingam, your application has been unanimously approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee.
You're welcome. Moving on to application number 6. Application number 6 is number 1, ADRA VILLAWAY. This is an application to increase the permitted maximum height of the outdoor rooftop pool deck. Do I have a Kelly Oxenberg on the line?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning, Ms. Oxenberg. Can you state your address for our records, please?
It's 4800 Dufferin Street, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay. We've got one variance, only one variance. TRCA has noted that there's no objections. That's Toronto and Region Conservation Authority. You are the only speaker registered. I'll turn it to our members to ask if you would require a presentation or if you have any questions. There being none, I'll ask our membership for a motion.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I
Mr.
will
Klassen.
move, yes, thank you. Madam Chair, I will move to approve this application.
Okay. We have a motion from Mr. Klassen to approve the application. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Seconded by Mr. Bartolo. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Ms. Oxenberg, your application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving along now to item number 7. Item number 7 is number 76 Autonomy Avenue. And this is an application to construct a one-story addition, which is a sunroom, to the rear of the existing dwelling in conjunction with a new rear deck. I'd like to state for the record, we have a couple of new entries in terms of one speaker who's been added to talk to this application, along with the applicant himself, Mr. Alexander Ayodesh. Mr. Alexander Ayodesh, are you on the line?
Madam Chair, the applicant does not appear to be present at this time.
Okay. Should we stand this down for a moment? Okay, we'll stand down item number 7. We do have someone else who wishes to speak to that application. So let's move on to item number 8, and we'll come back to item number 7 in a moment. Item number 8 is number 14 Overton Crescent. This is to construct a new 2-story addition to the existing dwelling. There is only one variance on this application. Mr. Rubinoff, we invite you back to the line. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Does Mr. Rubinoff need to state his address again? Since he's already stated it, then we've got that on record. I will turn to committee members, seeing that there's no other speakers to this item and it is only one variance. Do you have the need for a presentation or any questions? Please let me know. I'm not. No presentation requests or questions. Then I will turn to members to ask for a motion. Ms. Attarodi.
To you, Madam Chair, I think this is a very straightforward application, and I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with no
Okay.
condition.
We have a motion on the floor from Ms. Atarodi to approve the application. Do I have someone to second this? Seconded by Mr. Bartolo. All in favor? Okay, the application has been unanimously approved, Mr. Rubinoff. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Shall we try again for application number 7? Okay, we'll give that a moment. Let's move on to application number 9, committee members. Application number 9 is number 50 SOUTHVALE Road. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an integral garage. On the line, we should have someone from the Homeland Group. I'm not sure who the speaker is. Is someone here to represent as an agent for this item number?
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Arjang Bahesh from Homeland at 49 Wycliffe Crescent.
Okay, Mr. Bahish, thank you for that. Did you get that address? Okay. Great. So, Mr. Bahish, we do have I don't know if you've recognized, we've got a staff report on here talking about the proposal being developed substantially in accordance with the side exterior main wall heights and east side and west side elevation drawings.
Yes, Madam Chair, we're totally okay with it.
And you're fine with that? There seems to
Yes,
be
absolutely.
no other variance. The variances seem minor. There doesn't seem to be any other reports noted for this file, and there's no additional speakers. I'll turn it over to our members to ask if you require a presentation or you have any questions.
No.
There being none from our membership, I would then ask for a motion from our committee. Ms. Atarodi.
To you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the staff condition that this proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the side exterior main wall height as seen on the east and west elevation submitted to the committee.
Great. We have a motion from Ms. Atarodi to approve this application and attach the November 2nd staff conditions to this item. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Mr. Klassen seconds this motion. All in favor? Unanimous approval with the condition of the November 2nd staff report. Mr. Bahesh, your application has been approved.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you to the committee members.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item number 10, just to give item number 7 a little bit more time to join us online. Item number 10 is 253 Florence Avenue. This is an application to construct a new dwelling. There, I have on the line Mr. Mehran Hedari. Are you there, sir? Mr. Mehran Hedari, are you there? One more time, Mr. Hedari.
Madam Chair, he is present,
Okay.
so perhaps we give him a moment as well.
Okay, so what we'll do, committee members, is we'll stand this down to give Mr. Hedari a moment to unmute his mic. Let's move on then to item number 11. Item number 11 is number 83 Elmhurst Avenue. This is to construct an application to construct a new dwelling. Do I have a Mr. Sia Sanjani on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Sanjani. Can you state your address for us, please, for the record?
Yes, it's 15 Allstate Parkway, City of Markham.
Okay, that's great. Mr. Sanjani, there is a staff report on this item for November 3rd. They're asking for refusal of variance number 1 and a condition on the development of the east and west side elevation drawings of October 21st. There is a forestry report on this item as well. Transportation has an October 30th report, although there are no objections, but they did stipulate one condition to that October 30th report. And there are 7 letters of support, and you are the only speaker on this file. Now, staff reports to refuse variance number 1. I'd like to give you an opportunity to explain a bit more and present on the concerns of the staff report, please. You have 5 minutes.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the committee. So we had, fortunately, we had enough time to discuss this with staff and revise the drawings and resubmit the up-to-date drawings to the Committee of Adjustment. So the architectural drawings that you have in front of you are the updated drawings based on the comment from staff. So we are making a change. Madam Chair, we had submitted a presentation to be displayed on the screen. If we can kindly have that, just so we can all better understand the nature of that variance.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. If you can zoom out so we can see the entire screen. So we are, as per staff recommendation, we are making a change to reduce the height of the side exterior main wall from 10 meters to 9.18 meters, as you can see on the screen. So from my understanding of the staff report, was only a refusal of the 10 meter, and they were in support of the 9.18 meter, which is the new height. And they had reviewed the new height, and they were satisfied with the change. So we are making that change to reduce the height that's related to minor variance number 1.
Okay, so you're changing variance number 1 from 10 meters to 9.18 meters to satisfy the staff report. Are there
That
any
is
other
correct.
changes that you're making to the variances here today?
No, that's the only change. If further explanation is required, we can move on to the second page. If not, that's the only change.
Okay, well, you still have 3 minutes to.
Okay, so if we can, yes, if we can, so that let's move on to the next one. So this is the west elevation showing. This is a corner lot, as you probably know. So the for majority of the side walls, almost about 90% of the side wall, we fully comply with the maximum building height of 7.5 meters, as it's highlighted on the screen. The horizontal green band at the top that you see, that shows the extent of the roof that actually complies with the 7.5 meters. The 9.18 it only relates to 2 small parapets that we had to add to kind of give this, since it's a corner lot, to give this side wall a more animated design, so it's not a blank wall. And those were the portions that used to be at 10 meters and then further reduced to 9.18. So as you can see, the impact is going to be very minor. Same thing happens on the other side, where the majority of the side wall actually is fully compliant with the 7.5 meters.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, and then we have with regards to the height of the deck, which is the minor variance number 3. We've had discussions with the neighbors. We have letter of support from the neighbor. They had no issues. We are open to the idea of having a privacy wall, which we've shown on the drawing, facing our adjacent neighbor to the side. Again, with regards to the building heights, which is variance number 4 under the old bylaw, North York 77625. We also have a presentation, but I want to make a quick explanation. We don't need to put that up. It is a technical variance. the variance under the old bylaw should be taken to the mid height of the roof, and the number that you see 10.48 is actually to the highest point of the peak, and that's due to the fact that we have a small portion of a 2% slope at the top, but in fact the actual height would have been measured to the mid height, which would be substantially less than that. So if you would like to see that, that's exactly what's on the screen. So the 9.33 is the actual height under the North York bylaw, but again, because of the technical way of reviewing this by the examiner, we have a height of 10.48, which is to the absolute peak of the roof. And again, that small strip of flat green, horizontal green band that shows the flat roof, that's triggered that. So if you can go to the next page, you can see how, just to show the next page, if you can, yes. So that's the portion of the flat roof. So it's triggered measurement to the peak instead of the mid height. And then in terms of garage, front-facing garages, we are very familiar with the area, and
Okay,
the
Mr.
majority.
Sanjani, I'll ask you to summarize, please.
Sure, the majority of the garages, and almost over 98, almost 100%, all of them are front-facing garages. We have a few examples in the previous presentation panel that we can refer to if that's needed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Then I'll turn it back over to members of our committee. Do you have any questions for Mr. Sanjani? I see no hands going up, no questions at this time. So members, we do have the staff report requesting refusal of variance 1, but Mr. Sanjani has made a change to that from 10 meters to 9.18 meters, which he feels satisfies staff. There is the condition to develop it in accordance with specific side elevation drawings of October 21st. Transport has no objections. There are 7 letters of support, and there is forestry that applies. Can I get a motion on this application? Mr. Bartolo.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through you, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application pending the following, or subject to the following, that variance number 1 be changed to a maximum height of 9.18 meters, and that as well as the conditions noted in the urban forestry memo dated November 3rd.
And was there anything else, Mr. Bartolo?
And and this, excuse me, that the application be developed substantially in accordance with the west side elevation and east side elevations drawings, and date stamped October 21st, 2020, submitted in this application.
Great, thank you very much. We have a motion on the floor from Mr. Bartolo to approve the application with the changes of variance number 1 from 10 meters to 9.18 meters, and to make it subject to the condition that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the side west elevation and east side elevation drawings, date stamped and received October 21st, and subject to forestry. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Seconded by Ms. Attarodi.
And
yeah, sorry.
I'd like to have a friendly amendment. Do we need to also, if we accept it, to also accept the transportation recommendation? Subject to, they have no comment, but there is a recommendation there.
Yeah, there is an October 30th recommendation from transportation. Do you accept that, Mr. Bartolo?
I'm just gonna read through it real quick. One second.
Yes. The recommendation for transportation indicates that they have no objections, but to please add a notation on the site plan drawing stating that all portions of existing access driveways that are no longer required must be closed and restored with soft landscaping and full concrete curves to the satisfaction of transportation services.
I am good with the friendly amendment, Mr. Chair.
Okay, then I second it.
Okay, so Ms. Satrodi seconds that motion. All in favor? This application has been unanimously approved with those specific conditions. Mr. Sanjani, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee members.
Great. Moving on, I will ask our planning team if item number 7, if the agent has returned, has not returned yet. Item number 10, Mr. Hidari, is he still there? Okay, so in that case, we will get back to those items. In the meantime, we will move on to item number 12. Item number 12 is 339 Broadway Avenue. This application is to construct a new detached dwelling, and we have a Leo Mastandrea on the line.
Yes, good morning.
Sir, can you
My name
state
is
your
Leo
name?
Mastandrea.
Yes, and your address,
I'm
please.
is 817 Cosburn Ave, and I'm the agent for the owners at 339 Broadway.
Great, thank you. Mr. Mastandrea, your application seems to have a transportation comment on November 3rd that recommends refusal. And of course, forestry applies. Just by chance, is there any opportunity for you to want a deferral on this application at this time, or you would like to proceed?
No, we can proceed. I looked at the variance. So based on our zoning notice, we've already reduced and removed some of the items on the notice from what you have in front of you today. Now, based on the comments from forestry and transportation, we are also willing to further reduce our application to remove number 3, which is the landscaping, front yard landscaping, the 50%.
So you're making changes to the application. So you are removing variance number 3, which is the front yard landscaping. What other changes are you making to your application here today?
So in order to access our garage, which is basically a double garage because my client has motorcycles that he needs to park on the one smaller side. So because of that reason is the reason why we need that wider driveway, is so that it doesn't look out of place with the driveway. So we're further reduced variance number 4 from 5.49 to 5 meters. Okay. And if you look at our front elevation, you can see why we'd like that one. And in addition, I've submitted a package. And if we look at page number 13 and page number 15, which are 232 Broadway and 366 Broadway, you can see that driveway is approximately 6.5 meters. That one there you have in front of you. And the next one at number 15 at 366 Broadway is approximately 5.5 meters as well. So it's consistent with what's there on Broadway, and our other variances are all minor in proportion with what's been approved. In addition to that, we spoke to our arborist, and he said that if we make our driveway permeable, that there will be minor injury to that tree, because our intention is to keep the tree, because my client does want to preserve that tree. So based on all the information and based on the reductions, I was hoping that the committee would consider approving this application.
Okay, thank you for that. So we've got changes to the application. Variance number 3 is removed. Variance number 4 has been reduced to 5 meters. Do we have any questions of the applicant here today from committee members? He is the only speaker listed. Ms. Satrodi.
I just need a clarification. Is the applicant would like to construct a driveway with a permeable pavement material, or because he mentioned that was a suggestion from his arborist.
Mr.
Yes,
Mastrangelo?
yes, you could make it a condition that we do a permeable driveway. I would be happy with that.
Okay. Any other questions?
Madam-
Mr. Klassen?
Yes, I'm still looking at the driveway, and so I understand it's been reduced from 5.49 to 5 meters. I'm just trying to understand. I'm still not clear what the rationale is for the wider driveway.
If you look at our front elevation, we have a double driveway. We have a double garage. So to access the double garage, we would like that wider driveway. If you look at page number A6, I believe. Yeah, A6. You can see that our driveway is the width of our garage, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions from committee members? There being no other questions, committee members, we have a decision to make on this application where forestry would apply. We've got a November 3rd transportation report saying that they are recommending refusal, but the applicant feels that by removing variance number 3, and reducing variance number 5 to 5 meters, that should satisfy transportation. He's the only speaker on here and did not wish for a deferral. Can I get a motion from the committee members?
I have another question to you,
Yes,
Mr.
sure.
Chair. I would like also explanation regarding variance number 1, the side exterior main wall facing the sideline. It's 8.86 versus 7.5.
Yes, we've also submitted in our package. You could see page number 1 to page number 8, which is consistent. If you look at page number 6, at 340 Broadway, they were approved at 9.5 meters. And we did to speak to planning. We've already further reduced our application when we were speaking with planning, and they did not have a concern with that specific variance. But if you look at the decisions that I've supplied, we are consistent. If you even look at page number 4 at 325 Broadway, that was approved at 9.39. So I believe page number 5 was also approved at 9.39. Page number 6 was approved at 9.5. And I think it's consistent with what's been approved here at the committee.
Through Mrs. Chair, I didn't ask for comparison. I asked that which part of his design triggered that variance.
Mr. Mastrangelo, if you can address Ms. Attarodi's direct question.
It is the front. It is the front of the dwelling that needs that variance because of our design. The rest of the building complies. It's only the front.
Does that address your concerns, Ms. Attarodi?
Okay, is it only the front or at back or just the front? Which area? Because I just would like to know that which area of your design triggered that.
It's just the front elevation only.
Okay.
If you look at the sides and the back, they're consistent.
Sorry, Madam Chair, if I can jump in, is it that rectangular eyebrow at the top there, sir, that's causing it?
Yes.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions for the agent today from the panel members? There being no other questions, and I've previously summarized, can I get a motion, please? Mr. Klassen.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the application subject to variance 3 being removed and subject to the driveway being changed from 5.9 meters to 5 meters, and also subject to urban forestry.
Great. We have a motion from Mr. Klassen on the floor for approving this application subject to forestry and subject to variance 1 being removed and variance number 4 being reduced to 5 meters. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Ms. Atterode?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. I also have two friendly amendments. Number 1 is that the driveway to be constructed by permeable pavement as per applicant request. And also would like to say that the elevation it ties to front elevation and it builds substantially to the front elevation of this application.
Mr. Klassen, do you accept those amendments, those friendly amendments to have the driveways completed in permeable pavers and tying this application to substantially to the front elevation drawing?
I do.
Okay, then then Ms. Atterode seconds this application. All in favor?
Can I make a friendly amendment there, Madam Chair?
Sure. One more friendly amendment from Mr. Bartolo.
It's super friendly, I promise. I'm requesting that we add TPPR conditions 1 through 3 as noted in the urban forestry memo to the conditions.
So instead of just saying forestry, you want to be specific and say.
Well, I suppose so. Sorry, maybe I missed that they've added those conditions because we're changing some of the conditions in that memo with the deletion of variance number 3 and the modification of variance number 4. I just want to be.
Yeah, forestry is applicable regardless.
No problem.
Of the changes.
Okay.
So I think that stands. So we will move back to the motion again. Can I get a seconder? It's Ms. Atterode. All in favor? Okay. Your application has been unanimously approved, Mr. Massandrea, and it is subject to the conditions of forestry, as well as the conditions that you have, the variances, the changes that you have made here today. I shall not repeat it, but I'd also like to make sure that it's tied to the front elevation drawings submitted to committee, as well as the driveway being completed in permeable pavers. Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Thank you. I'll just turn it back to Mr. Clapp. Did item number 10, Mr. Hadari, come back on the phone? Okay, so committee members, let's move backwards a little bit to item number 10. The agent is here. So item number 10 is number 253 Florence Avenue. And this is to construct a new dwelling. Mr. Hadari, are you on the line this time?
Yes, Madam Chair, good morning, and good morning, member of the committee. My name is Mehran Haidari, 1090 Don Mills Road, Unit 506.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hadari, for your name and address. Mr. Hadari, we do have an application here for you, and it is to construct a new dwelling. There is a staff report of November 3rd that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings submitted to the committee on September 10th. This seems to be minor in nature. It seems that we only have Mr. Hadari as the registered speaker. I'll turn it over to our committee members. Do you require a presentation or do you require a question to be answered? I see all heads shaking no. So, Mr. Hadari, what we will do is I can ask for a motion on this application.
Thank you.
Mr. Bartolo.
Madam Chair, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application, subject to it being developed substantially in accordance with the east elevation and west elevation drawings, date stamped September 10th, 2020, as attached in this application.
Great. We have a motion on the floor from Mr. Bartolo to approve the application, subject to the November 3rd staff report that the proposal be developed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings, date stamped September 10th. Can I have a seconder for that motion? Seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Mr. Hadari, your application has been unanimously approved with those conditions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Great. You too. Okay, seeing that item number 7 is still, no one has joined us, we'll leave that aside and let's move on to.
Madam Chair.
Yes?
Apparently we have someone that's the agent for number 7 that did not register.
Okay.
Shall we proceed with 7?
So we're being recommended to proceed back to number 7, item number 7.
I've been here since 9 a.m.
Okay, that's great. Can you state your name and address for the record, sir?
My name is Matt Jackwitz at 240 Viceroy Road in Vaughan, and I'm representing 76 Untitled. This property has a history with this Committee of Adjustment, and I'm disappointed to find out that you guys don't know that I'm the speaker.
Okay, and your name is Mr. Jeffers, right? Did you say that?
Matt Jackwitz, M-A-T-T, last name J-A-C-E-W-I-C-Z. I'm also disappointed to find out that staff has not recommended the deferral because that should have been, even if I wasn't here, this application should have been deferred, is what I'm getting at.
So are you putting forward a motion, are you putting forward a request to defer the application?
I didn't put that forward. Your planners and the city staff has done that, and I'm disappointed to find out that you guys don't have that information after all this time.
Okay, so Mr. Jackwitz, I have your application in front of me. It's to construct a one-story addition sunroom to the rear of the existing dwelling in conjunction with a new rear deck. There is the staff report, as you've suggested, that is of November 2nd. Staff is recommending deferral or refusal of this application. It seems that forestry does apply. There have been previous decisions on this application in 2010 and 2019. There is one speaker on the line who is waiting to also share their concerns. So what I'll like you to do is perhaps give us a 5-minute presentation on this item, and we are sorry that we kept you waiting on the line. We have you here now, and we are happy to hear you present.
So with all due respect, I would like to defer this because we are redesigning based on our conversations with the planner.
Okay, so you are requesting a deferral.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is let me just check with the other speaker to see how they feel about deferring this application. And on the line, do we have a Martin R. Ostert? Mr. Ostert, are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Mr. Ostert, for the record, can you state your name and address, please?
My name is Martin Mostert. My address is 77 OTONABEE Avenue.
Okay, Mr. Ostert, we've just received a request from, as you probably heard, from the agent indicating that they would like to defer this application. So speaking on the deferral only, do you have any concerns to share about deferring this application to give him more time to work with staff?
I don't have any concerns. My name is Mostert, not Ostert.
Yes, maybe I'm getting my voice confused over the microphone, but I did say Ostert. So you don't have a problem with the deferral?
Well, I mean, I would have liked to speak, but I have no problem with the deferral, no.
Right. You will get an opportunity to speak when this application does come back around, which it will in time. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. So now I will turn it over. There's no other speakers to this application. I'll turn it over to committee members to put forward a motion for deferral. Ms. Attarodi.
So, through you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to defer this application so the applicant have time to talk with city staff and provide us the revised drawing sine die.
Okay, we have a motion from Ms. Attarodi to defer sine die. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Mr. Bartolo. All in favor? Okay, this application, sir, has been unanimously approved for deferral. So it will be deferred sine die. Thank you very much. Okay, so now we'll move on to, I'm looking at committee members. Are you all okay? Do you need a break or shall we continue? Keep going? Right? I don't see any hands up, so we'll keep going. And we're moving along to application number, is it 13? Right. Application number 13, number 103, Orchard Gray. Do I have a Stephen Sukiasian on the line?
Good morning, Madam Chair. My name is Stefan Sukiasian. I represent a client at this subject address.
Mr. Sukiasian, can you provide us with your address for the record, please?
My address is 200 Town Center Boulevard. I'm the agent for this 103 Old Orchard. Old Orchard.
Old Orchard.
Grave. Grove, sorry.
Grove, yes. This is to construct an addition to the existing rear yard deck. There is one letter of support as well as one letter of objection on the file. Forestry does. Sorry?
We have 3 letters of support and 1 letter of objection.
Okay, we do have that on file actually, and forestry does apply. We do have one other speaker. For this reason, I'd like you to provide us with a short presentation, and I'll start the timer now. Please begin.
Sure. Existing deck at the rear of the building is at 1.37 meter height above the ground and projects 2.14 meters or 7 feet. We are proposing to add to the projection of the deck another 1.52 meters or 5 feet. The Toronto-wide bylaw allows for platforms to be projected a maximum of 2.5 meters from the rear main wall if the top of the platform is greater than 1.2 meter in height above the ground at any point below the platform. This limitation should be correlated, so the projection of the platform is relative to the height. If you were to lower the proposed deck height by another 0.17 meters or 6 to 7 inches, we wouldn't have to have the limit for the projection, and we wouldn't have to ask for relief for this bylaw. However, we would like to use the existing deck structure, which is at 1.37 meter height, as I said, and extend on it another 5 feet. All other bylaws are respected, including rear yard setback line is not crossed by the projection of the platform. The rear landscaping of at least 50% is maintained, and side yard setbacks minimums are kept. For full disclosure, the deck was subject to a condition under minor variance application passed in September 2013, where the deck was counted together with the building depth to a maximum of 17 meters, was varied to 20.9. However, appropriate bylaw which controlled this combined limit was removed in 2018, and thus the condition for the deck and building depth is no longer relevant in this case. I would like to also mention we have letters of support from immediate neighbors at 101, 105, and 109 Old Orchard Grove. The existing deck portions and fencing is higher at the sides of the existing deck to provide privacy for the neighboring properties. And I'm aware of the letter of objection from the neighbor 84 Delorraine Avenue. That's at the rear of the property, and I'll let neighbor to present the issues.
Okay, great, thank you. Do we have any questions of the agent, Mr. Sukiasian, today? Okay, with that, then let's move on to our first registered speaker, Mr. James Anderson. Mr. Anderson, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Mr. Anderson, just for the record, state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is James Anderson. I'm the owner of 84 Delorraine Avenue. The house is to the immediate rear and south of the subject property, and I reside there with my spouse, Allison Anderson. So you'll have our submission before you, which is dated November 3rd. So I haven't seen the letter of support with respect to 101. I just wanted to point that out, so I wasn't sure that that could be referred to. In any case, I'm going to indicate my concern. Overall, we're concerned about the effective approval of this extended elevated deck on enjoyment of our rear yard and property. Given that Mr. Fay's property, and I want to emphasize this, is already elevated in relation to our property, and the deck would overlook our rear yard. You will see in the file the 2013 variance approval of the committee, which by express condition limited the rear deck by a site plan to a 7-foot platform projection. I'd like to point out that I signed a letter of support to that application. In the result, I felt that I could live with a limited platform at that height. Such a limited deck or platform seems in our observations to be in keeping with the characteristics of new builds, where any elevated decks are limited in depth at height with stairs to a patio or a larger deck below. Or to put it another way, our position is that the proposed deck would be out of keeping with the
Mr. Anderson?
stairs to a patio or deck below.
Okay.
Second, the proposed platform deck is not only above the permitted platform height above the ground in the zoning bylaw, but would project out, from my view of the plan, to 15 feet 8 inches versus the permitted 8 feet in the bylaw. So we don't consider this within the intent of the bylaw or a minor variance given the standard set by the zoning bylaw. And I want to emphasize this, what I believe to be a change in amenity created by approval of a much larger elevated deck. In short, the function of the already approved deck by the 2013 approval is transformed from its initial purpose. Even at its narrowest, if you look at the plans, the deck is going to be a 15 foot 8 inch deck by 12 feet. That is, again, is overlooking our property at an elevated height. We don't see this approval as desirable for the appropriate use of the property. I want to emphasize that any denial of approval doesn't negate Mr. Fay's ability to have a deck or patio, just not at an elevated height. The competing demands here are, on the one hand, the convenience of the owner to have a walkout to a large elevated deck, and on the other hand, the impact of such a deck on the privacy and enjoyment of our property. Convenience is not enough in our opinion. Elevated structures generally are a concern, as they are much more impactful than a lower deck. They can have as much of a visual impact as any building out and should be considered part of the house. You'll note in item 3 on the second page of the submissions, I point to the various variances in depth that I've seen. I appreciate that they were all done in respect of bylaw 43886 variances, but I simply put it in there because looking at the buildings around us, we are seeing large buildings, but clearly the depths are going to about 20.9. This elevated deck, which I believe is part of a significant structure to the dwelling behind us at 103, already has a building depth of 20.9. We believe that that tends to loom over our property. And I think that what they have there already is a good building in terms of their amenity, but anything beyond that, I think, impacts us and should be refused. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Anderson. Committee members, do you have any questions for Mr. Anderson? There being none, then I'll turn it back over to our agent, Mr. Sukiasian. I will give you 5 minutes to rebut the concerns of Mr. Anderson. Mr. Sukiasian, are you there? We've lost him. Mr.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, sorry, we weren't hearing you
Oh,
there.
I was muted.
Okay.
Thank you. Just wanted to quickly say the letter of support from the neighbor at 101 Old Orchard was sent this morning. So I'm not sure if it was added to the website yet.
We haven't
but
seen it. We only see the letters from 105 and 109.
Okay. But yeah, it was sent. So if anything, I can send it again. To address the issues raised by the neighbor, I've already answered the concerns about the previous committee application and also the proposed projection of the deck. I'd like to stress out that total projection will be 3.66 meters at 12 feet, which includes the existing and proposed portions. And the height that makes it a raised platform is only 6 inches higher than the limitation, which sets also the projection limitation for the deck. So we believe that 6 inches is not going to change a huge deal in terms of privacy. And there are higher privacy fencing on both sides, as I mentioned, for the sides, and as well as 2 large canopy trees, fencing, and a shed at the rear of the property, which will block off and provide visual and audio privacy for the rear of the property. So I believe privacy-wise, the proposed projection is not going to be a huge effect for this site. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, do you have any questions of the agent here today? There being none, can I get a motion on this application? Okay, Ms. Satarodi.
To you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application subject to forestry.
Okay. Do I have a second for that motion? Seconded by Mr. Bartolo. All in favor? This application has been unanimously approved subject to forestry. Mr. Sukiasian. Thank you very much. Okay, moving along to item number 14, which is number 49 Langholm Drive. This is an application to construct a new driveway. Do I have a Mr. Gregorio Tedesco on the line?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Mr. Tedesco, can you please state your name and address for the record, please?
Greg Tedesco, 49 Langholm Drive.
Okay, great. Mr. Tedesco, this application does show an important report from Transportation on November 2nd recommending refusal of this application. There is a counselor letter that came in very more recently to us. I'm not sure if committee members did receive that, but it is from Counselor James Pasternak. It's a letter of support for this application based on the fact that the residents in this address do suffer from specific heart conditions and do have EMS services that visit them regularly, hence the reason they would like the driveway widened. So we've got a counselor letter of support. And so based on the fact that Transport does request refusal, I'd like you, and you're the only one listed to speak to this application. Perhaps if you can take 5 minutes and present to us the merits of your application.
Okay, can I, I have it here and I'm just going to read it out.
Sure.
I'm Nada Tedesco, the wife of Greg Tedesco, so I'll help him read it just so there's no added stress or anything to my husband.
Okay.
So good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee, and thank you for this hearing date. We're the owners, residents of 49 Langholm Drive, and are requesting permission to enlarge our driveway for the purposes of having extra parking spaces for the following reasons. This all stemmed from several phone calls to 911 for my husband's and son's arrhythmia issues and my daughter's juvenile diabetes issues. The ambulance attendants would say, you need to move your vehicles as we need to access the driveway. And frantic states, more concerned with my family issues, frazzled and all, we would try to move the vehicles out of the way. Also, we are constantly shuffling our 2 vehicles around because someone needs the vehicle that's parked in the back. In conversation with our neighbors, whom the majority have double driveway, have mentioned to us to make an application to expand our driveway. To some, this may not be a big deal, but to us, with all the struggles and stresses that we have faced and challenges, it is a big deal. We have forwarded some photographs earlier to support our request, being the following: some photographs of when ambulance just recently came to our house this past May 3 times, and in August for my husband's heart issues. And I had to go move both vehicles so they could park in the driveway. A copy of a support letter from our city councillor, James Pasternak, whom supports our requests, and copies of photographs of our neighbors' driveways on our streets having similar homes and lot sizes with double driveways. To conclude, we are at the point in our lives, with the help and support of family and friends and city councillor, we are able to make this happen with the approval from the city. Therefore, we're asking you to please reconsider this application and allow us to proceed with our request. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Tedesco. Committee members.
Can I also?
Yes.
Sorry, can I also mention that when we first went for the application, we went upstairs to transportation at North York City Center, and they did say that if we did have the approval, that they would cut the curbs.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, but we didn't have any updates from them on that, so the application, the letter does still stand in terms of the report. We haven't received anything further from that, but I will put it towards our committee members for any questions at this time.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Committee members, do you have any questions of the applicant? Okay. That being said, and based on the presentation and the evidence before you, I would like to ask for a motion from you. Okay, Ms. Satorodi.
Madam Chair?
Oh, sorry.
There's a question.
A question?
I think Ms. Clausen has a question.
Okay, Mr. Clausen.
Oh, thank you. So, Madam Chair, I'd like to move to approve this application. And it is it subject to urban...
No, it's not.
Forestry, no, it's not. So it's just a straight approval.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clausen. We have a motion to approve this application without condition. Do I have someone to second this motion?
Can I have a friendly amendment?
Sure.
So I would like to add this condition that the driveway must be set back a minimum of 1 meter from the property line, as per transportation recommendation.
That actually changes the motion completely, I think, because...
Okay, then I withdraw that amendment.
Okay, so we have a motion still remaining on the floor from Mr. Clausen to approve this application without condition. Do I have a seconder for this? Seconded by Mr. Bartolo. All in favor? And dissenting? All opposed? Ms. Satorodi dissenting. So Ms. Tedesco And Mr. Gregorio Tedesco, your application has been approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, committee members, we do have 5 applications to go, but the staff here do need a little bit of a break. Would you mind if we take 10 minutes and we'll meet you back here in 10 minutes? Okay? At 12 o'clock. Thank you so much. Testing, 1, 2. Okay, we're waiting on one panel member to return, and then we will resume. Is it frozen? No, because you can see like. Oh, okay. But like, for 2 minutes there, nobody was moving. Okay. Okay, it looks like we've got everybody back on board. Thank you. What we'll do is begin with item number 15. Number 15, Briarfield Road. And this is for an application to construct a ground and second-story addition to the existing dwelling. The applicant's name is Nadeem Ifran. Mr. Ifran, are you there?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Can you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Nadeem Irfan, NIA Architects, 10 Milner Business Court, Suite 710, Scarborough, Ontario, M1B3C6.
Okay, great. Mr. Ifran, on this report, we do have Urban Forestry that did send in a late report. We do have Transportation that had sent us a letter for October 30th recommending deferral. We have 10 letters of support from you. There are no other speakers on the file except for you. And the Don Mills Residents Association would like you to reduce the lot coverage to 30% and eliminate the side yard setbacks. So with that in mind, would you consider deferring this application? Or would you like to still continue with a presentation?
Madam Chair, we have reached out to Transportation and Urban Forestry. Urban Forestry has modified their report and eliminated the condition number 5. We have also reached out to Transportation. I believe the way they are reading the dimensions of the driveway is in combination with the existing and the neighbor's driveway. Our driveway width is, as a matter of fact, it's about 4.8. And if there was a driveway width more than 5.8, zoning examiner would have picked it up and listed as a deficiency. So we're confident that we can resolve with the transportation staff and we can resolve with the urban forestry.
Okay, so you're wishing to proceed. With that, do you have any changes to the variance that you would like to inform us on today? We have 5 variances before us.
Yes, we have made these revisions based on our conversation with the community planning. Originally, it was 34.15.
Are you talking?
And we have reduced.
Are you talking about the variances that are before us was higher, and you're saying variance number 1 is already reduced to 32.13%?
That's what, yes, ma'am.
So everything that we have before us right now is what has already been modified?
Yes. Okay. And community planning has not written any report, so we understand they are satisfied with the proposal.
Okay, so with that, and because we have no updated transportation report, yes, we don't have planning, anything from our staff as a report. However, we do have, again, the Don Mills Residents Association requesting that the lot coverage be reduced and to eliminate side yard setbacks. So with that, can you make a presentation? You have 5 minutes, starting now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. The challenge is the existing house. The way the existing house is laid out, we have to add about a living room and a den come bedroom where elderly, grandparents visit them often. So also with the attached garage, we have added about 3.6 meter on the north side and 3.3 on the south side get the driveway and the kitchen area. And that is the reason the lot coverage is more. We also have a building code challenge from the City of Toronto that we have to maintain more than 51% of the existing walls. If we knock out more than 51%, this house will be deemed as a new construction. And we have a family's budget challenges that they cannot demolish the existing house and rebuild a brand new. So these are the constraints we are working with. We have also went through the previous decisions that have been approved. In our supporting material project brief, we have added a map where 4 of the houses that have been approved up to 32%, they are consistent in comparable in terms of the lot area, the lot coverage proposed, and the percentage of the lot coverage. So we are confident that this, once built, will be consistent with the ongoing development and also with which is already built in the area.
Okay, thank you for that. I will turn it over to.
And the other, Madam Chair, the other variances are technical. The front yard setback is pertaining to the existing house, which is 7.73 meter located, and we have to build the second story right on top of the existing wall.
Okay, thank you very much. I will turn it over to committee members for any questions you may have of the applicant. Ms. Satarodi.
I just through you, Madam Chair, I just want a clarification regarding variance number 5. Does the applicant earlier mention anything about variance number 5 that you want to eliminate it or not? I just want a clarification.
No, madam. No, Madam Chair, we will not eliminate.
Okay, so everything that you see before you remains the same. There is that transport report, but he feels that with the changes made here today, it should address the transport report. The Don Mills Association does want a reduction in the lot coverage and to eliminate side yard setbacks. Forestry does apply. There is no one else to speak to this application. There are 10 letters of support. Do you have any other questions of the applicant?
Madam Chair, just for the clarification, there is no side yard setback. It's only to the steps.
Okay, it's only to the steps. Okay, so maybe that's what they meant. Any other questions of the applicant? If not, can I entertain a motion, please, from the panel? Ms. Satarodi.
To you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with one change. I would like to modify variance number 1, the proposed lot coverage, to be read as 32%, and also subjected to forestry.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor from Ms. Satarodi to make a change to variance number 1 by reducing it to 32%, subject to forestry. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? Okay, this has been unanimously approved with those conditions of variance number 1 being reduced to 32% and subject to forestry. Thank you, Mr. Ifran.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. We're moving along to item number 16. Item number 16 is number 3 Harlington Road, and this is to extend. This is to extend the height of a new dwelling. I have a Pesman Sainia.
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and committee members. Briefly,
can you state your name and address for the record, sir?
Oh, sorry. Pejman Sainia, address is 5 Shepherd Avenue, Unit 2417.
Okay, before you begin a presentation, I would like to indicate that we've got a staff report of November 2nd. It's asking us to modify the application, and that is to reduce variance number 1 to 10.1 meters and reduce variance number 3 to 9.664 meters. There is one letter of objection. I presume that they would like to probably speak to it today because we've got 2 additional speakers. With that in mind, please proceed with a presentation to the panel.
Sure. So we have we have the permit for this house, and we noticed based on the area and the region that it's a Banbury area. I did a research and I noticed most of the houses, they have 11 to 12 feet of ceiling height at the main floor. So basically the drawings are based on the area is really substandard. Yes, I prepared the drawings. I sent it to the community planning member, and they advised me to reduce it to 10.104 meter, which I did already, and for the main walls to 9.664 meters, which all of the drawings are already changed. And yes, that's all.
So you're saying that you will comply with the staff report if it's not already noted here, and that you will be reducing variance number 1 from 10.31 meters to 10.1 meters, and then reducing variance number 3 to 9.6, increasing it to 9.664 meters.
Yes, number one, the exact number is 10.104 meters.
10.104 meters, yes.
4, exactly. And we already, like I said, we already adjusted the drawings, modified the drawings, we sent it to the city, and we got a notice from the zoning examiner based on these values.
Okay.
Based on this. So, I mean, the drawings right now is already updated.
Okay, so you are complying with the staff report. I will turn to committee members to ask if you have any questions of the speaker. With no questions, let's move on to the persons registered to speak to this application. The first person we have on the list is Mr. Bruce Zhang. Mr. Zhang, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, Mr. Zhang, please state your name and address for the phone number for the record, please.
Okay, my name is Bruce Zhang. Address is 175 West Beaver Creek, Unit 3, and I'm on behalf of the owner at the 19 Cosmic, just right beside the subject unit.
Okay, thank you. Can you please proceed? You have 5 minutes.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So my clients have 2 major concerns. Number 1, it's in the supporting document. There's no shed study report to support this variance, because as my own shed study, I found 0.1 meter on the vertical distance will have significant impact on the horizontal distance. Normally it's between 5 to 20 times. So this is a significant impact to the shed. And my client's house is only 9.5 meter height. So even go within the bylaw, 10 meter is 0.5 meter high already. So this 0.1 meter will absolutely a very significant impact. It's not a minor variance. A second major concern, this property, they had a committee of adjustment already, and they got the final decision on February 2020. So right now the stage is during the construction. They finished the main floor. So based on this, I think the design was immature. When the first committee of adjustment, they increased the main floor entrance level for that variance, at which got approval, and we didn't have any objection. When they did the design to raise the main entrance, they should understand there is a compromise on the height. But right now, they abuse the system of the committee of adjustment to have another variance application. So this is not fair to the neighbor. This is not fair to the system of the committee of adjustment. This is not fair to everyone work on this. So this is the second major concern. So based on this, we propose this application is being rejected. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, do we have any questions of Mr. Zhang? There being no questions, let's move on to speaker number 2. Mr. Ping Pai, are you there? Mr. or Mrs. Ping Pai, are you there?
Madam Chair, they do not appear to be present.
Okay, so they are not there. Let's move then back to Mr. Sainia. You've heard the concerns of Mr. Zhang. You have 5 minutes to rebut.
Sure. So basically, I don't believe we are abusing any code or any zoning bylaw, because for any changes, of course, we prepare the drawings, we send it out to the city, we communicated with the zoning planning, and we try to comply. I sent a list of all of the properties within 500 meters to the Eileen, the zoning planner, which most of them are above 10.1 to 10.3 meters, and the permitted maximum height is 10 meter. Right now we are going to 10.104 meter, and that's all I can say. I don't think we are abusing anything.
Okay, just to let you know, there was also a letter of concern that came in from Mr. Huok Tong, and that is around the same height concerns, which you have just addressed.
Yes.
Committee members, do you have any questions of Mr. Sainia, the agent? If there are no additional questions, can I get a motion on this application? We do know that there are modifications that he's made to reduce variances 1 and 3, number 1 to 10.1 meters and number 3 to 9.664 meters. Mr. Bartolo?
Madam Chair, through you, I'll put forward a motion to approve this application subject to the reductions in variances 1 and 3 as noted in the recommendations of the staff report dated November 2nd.
Great, thank you. We have a motion on the floor from Mr. Bartolo to approve the application and subject it to the November 2nd staff report. And that was accepted in terms of the changes made by the applicant himself here today. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Second,
Madam Chair,
yes.
There's also urban forestry, I believe.
I don't see
Or
that
am I wrong?
noted here,
No.
but I will double check with our
No.
staff.
Okay.
It's not for this one, it's
No.
item number 17.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Then I will second the motion.
Seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? Unanimously approved with those conditions. Thank you, Mr. Sainia. Your application has been approved with the conditions that were previously discussed.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 17. Item number 17 is number 110 Haynes Avenue. This is a property to an application to construct a new detached dwelling. Do I have a Vincent Maffei on the line?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, Mr. Maffei, can you state your name and address, please, for the record?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, members. My name is Vincent Maffei, M-A-F-F-E-I. I reside at 45 Tomei Road. I am the agent for the applicant, who happens to be my son.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Mr. Maffei, it shows here that there is a staff report of November 3rd that I don't know if you're aware of it, that the application be developed in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment. There is a forestry condition on this, as well as a transportation report of November 3rd, where they say there is no objection whatsoever, but they do have several conditions to have this subjected to. You are the only speaker registered to speak, so I'll turn it to committee members and ask if you would like a presentation or if you would like to ask any questions. Yes, Ms. Attarodi. I can't hear you, sorry.
I appreciate a presentation, a brief presentation.
Absolutely.
And also, to just talk about the setbacks, the west side yard setback as well.
Okay, so Mr. Maffei, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to begin your presentation to address the concerns specified by Ms. Attarodi around your side yard setbacks and everything else in general. Thank you. You may begin now.
Yes, Madam Chair, with due respect, the member cut out. I didn't hear the complete request that she made with regards to the items that I have to amplify on. The west side yard setback, I heard, and I can comment on that. The west side yard requirement is based on the fact that the lot is in the regular lot. It's wider in the front, fronting on King, than it is towards the back. And the 1.22 meter request for the only applies to the rear of the newly constructed house that is going to be built on the property. As we move forward towards the front from Paynes Avenue, the side yard widens to 3.4 meters at the front of the dwelling. We wanted to give as much side yard to the east side yard as possible, having regard to the width of the proposed dwelling. Also, there's an issue with the tree at fronting on Paynes Avenue and location of the end width of the driveway. We wanted to push the house as far west as possible so that we can have as much as the width of the entrance, as much as possible with regards to the constraints of an existing hydro pole on the west side of the entrance, and the tree on the east side of the entrance of the driveway. The concerns of the transportation services has been addressed. The pole has been moved. The pole is approximately 2.4 meters to the west of the west side of the driveway entrance, and the hydrant has been moved by the city and is approximately 10 meters to the east of the east side of the entrance of the driveway. So any other questions?
Committee members, any other questions for the applicant here today? Okay, if there are no other questions, we've got an application here with some staff conditions of November 3rd, as well as forestry, as well as transportation conditions. Can I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Attarodi.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with the staff condition that the proposal be developed substantially according to the site plan drawings submitted to Committee of Adjustment dated November 2nd, 2020. Also would like to have the urban forestry and transportation condition.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Attarodi. Is there anyone to second this application? Seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Mr. Maffei, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to forestry, subject to the November 3rd transportation and staff report conditions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Let's move on to application number 18, which is number 24 Tangemere Road. This is an application to construct a new detached dwelling with an integral garage. Do we have Mr. Peter Higgins on the line?
I'm here, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Mr. Higgins, if for the record, if you can state your name and address, please.
Certainly. Peter James Higgins. The company is Peter Higgins Architect, Incorporated, 124 Merchant Street, Suite 204, Toronto, M4S2Z2.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Higgins. Mr. Higgins, are you aware that there is a staff report of November 2nd recommending that you eliminate variances number 5 and number 8?
I am.
Okay, and that forestry applies. They are asking further to reduce, variances number 4 to the rear yard landscape, and reduce number 6 to 30% for lot coverage. There's
Yes.
also 5 letters of support on file. The Don Mills Residents Association did provide us with the letter of November 2nd that also talks about the lot coverage and them wanting it reduced to 30% just as a staff report, as well as the front yard setback as well to be reduced. And we do have a counselor letter that also supports the staff recommendation or the staff report.
Yes, I'm aware of all of that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Higgins. You may begin. We'll give you 5 minutes to present on all of these concerns. You may begin.
Madam Chair, before you start the clock,
Sure.
I would appreciate if we could go over the variances and I would tell you what has been removed, because there's a substantial number of variances now removed.
Okay, not a problem. Let's move forward
Thank
with
you.
that.
Number 1 is removed.
Okay.
Number 2 is removed. Number 3 is changed from 6.48 meters to 6.80 meters.
6.80 meters.
Correct.
Okay.
Number 4 has been removed. Number 5 has been removed.
Are there any other changes, Mr. Higgins?
Yes. Number 6 has been reduced from 39.6 coverage to 34.83% coverage, noting that the actual house is 30.95%, the difference being the existing canopy and small shed in the backyard. We're removing number 7 and number 8.
Okay.
So I'll speak to the remaining variances if I may, and you could start your clock.
So just to make sure I've got this right for the committee members, for the sake of them understanding what we've just done, what has been presented here, I'll just go through these changes one more time. So we are eliminating, you're saying that you're proposing to eliminate variance number 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8.
That is correct, Madam Chair.
And variance number 3 is now reduced from 6.48 meters to 6.8 meters. Variance number 6 has also been reduced from 39.6 meters to 39.6% to 34.83%.
That is all correct.
Okay, thank you. You may begin your presentation.
Thank you. We are the architects for Blake and Vanessa Appleton and their 2 children, ages 13 and 10. They've resided at number 24 for 10 years minimum. They're very involved in their community. Vanessa Appleton's parents and grandparents grew up on Tangmere, and they're very well connected, and they want this be their forever home. We had hand delivered by the client 16 packages to all immediate neighbors on Tangmere. We received support from 8. I think when you said there are 5, 3 of them obviously haven't been made it onto the list, but they are number 10, 19, 21, 22, 23, 25, 27, and 34 Tangmere, all in support. We've had no response from number 26 to the north, although my clients have tried a number of times. There's no one living there at the moment. And we have verbal support from number 35. Since we've now removed the side yard setbacks in reference to the Don Mills Residents Association or Incorporated and their Garden City concept comments, you should know that we have a meter more free area on the sides than the existing house had. For example, the south side yard for the existing house was 0.64. It is now 1.81. The front yard setback of 6.8 versus the allowable 710 is something that we disagree with. We do not believe we have this variance. However, we couldn't get the zoning examiner to change their mind. So we're leaving it in. It is now only 0.3 or a foot of a variance. It is a cantilevered bay window. I think it has no impact whatsoever on the front yard setback. It certainly doesn't decrease the Garden City concept green space in the front yard. We've removed the soft landscaping variance in the backyard. And so we come down to coverage. Coverage as it relates to massing, you should know that there is no height variance. In fact, we're 0.3 meters below the allowable height. The pulled down roof and dormers and the stepped facades, there are 4 planes of facade at the front. The sidewalls are only 6.31 at their highest and 5.72 at their lowest versus an allowable 7.5. So what I'm saying here is there are no side yards, no rear yard, no height, no wall, and an arguable front yard setback that we disagree with. That leads me to the coverage. The existing house itself, with its garage and with the small shed and the canopy, is at 30.50%. We're proposing 30.95% for the house itself. The existing shed and canopy represent 3.88, so that brings us to the total of 34.83. So when we talk about Don Mills and the planning department wanting us to get down below or at 30%, I think we're pretty darn close at 30.95. I would like to make the argument that the small shed and the canopy, which is the greatest amount of the overage, representing about 2.7% of the 3.88% overage for that structure. It's an important feature. There are no trees to the south. The neighbor immediately to the south has a pool. They don't want any trees. They've been cut down. So in this day and age of climate change, my clients definitely want to have a shady spot for themselves and their family. And that's what this represents. This overage really is all about the existing canopy as a sunshade. We'd be happy to be tied to plans or tied to a comment that states that the proposed house is 30.95. The existing shed and canopy represent 3.88 for a total of 34.83. I think that is very reasonable, and from what we've been hearing approved by this committee today and at other times of 31, 32%, we really think this is very reasonable. It's a slightly pie-shaped lot. If it was a straight lot, and you wouldn't know otherwise, looking from the front as you walk by, we wouldn't have this variance. But because of the pie, we have a slightly smaller than normal lot area, and we think that this minor variance of 34.83, including the existing canopy and shed, should be accepted by the Committee of Adjustment. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins. I'll turn it over to committee members. Do you have any questions of Mr. Higgins?
No, I've just, through you, Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Satarodi.
I just would like to ask Mr. Higgins to repeat the lot coverage. I mean, as I understood, existing canopy and the shed is 3.88%, and the proposed is how much?
30.95 is the house proper, the house with its integral garage.
Okay.
So we get to a total of 34.83. And a reminder that the existing house and garage and canopy is already at 30.50. We've come down substantially. We listened to the planning department. We had no opposition from neighbors, and yet we want this to go through. My clients are very anxious to build this for their family. I'd ask you again to understand that the house as designed shows itself as being quite modest, and I hope you'll approve it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Higgins from the panel? Okay, so what we have here is an application, and for which the agent or applicant has made considerable revisions to the application. It meets pretty much all of the requirements of the Don Mills, well, not all, most of the requirements of the Don Mills Residents Association and the staff report, as well as the councillor's requests. The only thing that was outstanding from them was around variance number 6 to 30% of the lot coverage. It is right now at 34.83%. However, 30.95% of that is the house itself. So, and the integral garage. So we have 5 letters of support and no one else to speak to this application. With that in mind, can I get a motion on this application? Okay, Mr. Bartolo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will put forward a motion to approve this application pending the following revisions: that variances 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8 be removed. Variance number 3, the proposed front yard setback be increased to 6.8 meters, and variance number 6, the lot coverage be changed to 34.83%. And I will also tie that, make that subject to the comments of the urban forestry memo dated November 13th.
Thank you, Mr. Bartolo. Can I have a second to that motion?
Madam Chair, just
Yes.
there's also urban forestry.
Yes, Mr. Bartolo did note that. I'm not sure if you heard.
Oh, okay, I didn't
clearly.
hear that.
He did.
No. Okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Claassen, are you seconding that motion then?
I am then.
Okay, so Mr. Claassen
Thank you.
seconds that motion. All in favor? Okay, Mr. Higgins, your application has been unanimously approved with the proposed changes that you've made here today and subject to forestry.
Thank you for all of your time, Madam Chair and members. Very much appreciated.
Great. Now we shall move on to item number 19, which is number 300 Cranbrook Avenue. And this is to construct and expand a rear deck. We do have one agent on file to speak to this application. Mr. John Joseph Goddard, are you there?
I am.
Can you state your name and address for our records, please?
Yes, my name is John Goddard. My address is 300 Cranbrook Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Great. Mr. Goddard, we do have a staff report of October 23rd that asks you to provide permanent opaque screening along the west edge of the proposed rear deck. There are just 2 variances on this file. Forestry does apply. You are the only speaker on the file. I'll turn it over to committee to see if you have any questions or require a presentation on this matter. There being none, can I ask committee members to entertain a motion, please? Ms. Atarodi?
To you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with one step condition that the applicant is provide opaque screening alongside of the west edge of the proposed rear deck with a minimum height of 1.5 from the floor of the platform and subjected to forestry.
Thank you, Ms. Attarodi. Can I get someone to second Ms. Attarodi's motion? Mr. Klassen seconds it. All in favor? Okay. Mr. Goddard, your application
Goddard.
has been unanimously approved, subject to forestry and subject to the conditions of the October 23rd staff report. Thank you so much.
Agreed, Madam Chair. Thank you very much. Committee members, thank you.
Great. So let's move on to our final item for the morning session, and that is number 26 Larrabee Crescent. And this is an application to construct a one-story front addition with extended integral garage. Do I have a Mr. Trevor Gain on the line?
Yes, you do, Mr. Chair. I'm present.
Mr. Gain, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, I am Trevor Gain. I live at 10 Celebrity Place in Markham, L3P 7 Nancy 4, and I'm here as the agent and representing the owners.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Mr. Gain, there is no staff report on this item. There's no forestry. There's just two variances that are noted for this application. I'll turn it over to committee members to see if they require a presentation or they have any questions. Yes, Ms. Attarodi.
Through you, Madam Chair, I have a question regarding the, I would like to ask how much is the existing lot coverage of the dwelling right now?
The existing dwelling right now is 29% of the lot, and during a pre-circulation, or we did work with planning on it because the 34.45% coverage is higher than the majority of the coverages in the area. But part of the negotiations is that they did ask us to align our new garage addition with the adjacent dwelling at number 28 to the north. And with that, the coverage did come down to what you have in front of you. And furthermore, in the submitted photographs that I submitted into the file, the second page of it, in which I pointed out to city planning, is that this coverage, ideally they wanted it down to 33%, but this is an existing backsplit dwelling. We're asking for a one-story little addition in the front just to reorient the front door to the street, and then to just make a longer garage for storage, for tandem spaces, to store a car for the winter, etc. And in doing so, the number just jumped up to that. But the second page of the photographs, this is kind of the point I was trying to make, is that even though our coverage appears higher, it is nowhere near the massing of what you see just on Larrabee itself as far as all the two-story dwellings. You know, a two-story dwelling that's at 33% or 32% just appears bigger, but bulkier on the property than to what our little proposal is, and it's just a product of the existing house and our lot size, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you. Committee members, do you have any other questions? If not, can I entertain a motion from committee members? Ms. Attarodi.
Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to put forward a motion to approve this application with one modification, that the variance number 1 to be read like the proposed lot coverage is 34.45% of the lot area and the existing lot coverage is 29%. And and no forestry or no.
No, there's no forestry, but I want to make sure I got this right. You're saying that you would like to propose that number 1 now reads that the proposed lot coverage of 34.45% is to cover the lot. Sorry, you might have to repeat that.
It's the proposed lot coverage is 34.45% of the lot area, and the existing lot coverage is 29%.
Okay, and so you want to just add the phrase, and the existing lot coverage is 29%.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion on the floor from Ms. Attarodi to approve the application, and subject to one change of variance 1, where the additional phrase will now read the proposed lot coverage of 34.45% of the lot area is of the lot area, and the existing coverage is 29%. Do I have a seconder for that?
Madam Chair, I'm pleased to second it, but I'm just not sure that I can I can second the phrase that's been added, because that isn't a decision of the committee. It's just it's a fact of the existing structure.
Right. I would tend to agree with that as well, but if there's no one else to second that, then the motion fails in terms of the changes that Ms. Attarodi was trying to make. And if that's the case, let's make a new motion, please, committee. Okay, Mr. Bartolo?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll put forward a motion to approve this application as is.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion to approve the application without conditions. Is there a seconder to this motion? Seconded by Mr. Klassen. All in favor? All opposed? Ms. Attarodi dissenting. Mr. Gain, your application has been approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that takes us to the end of our morning period. Committee members, thank you for your hard work. We'll meet back here at about 1:30. Okay, see you then. Have a great lunch.